Welcome back to the Broad Street Sports Podcast featuring Zachary Chavy, and today I'll be giving you my Week 8 reactions from Thursday Night Football up until Sunday Night Football that happened last night, and my thoughts and predictions for tonight's Giants-Steelers Monday Night Football game. So, starting with Thursday Night Football, the Rams had a very nice win against the Vikings by the score of 30-20. The Rams had their two top guys back in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and it's already seen Matt Stafford look so much better with those guys back. Definitely makes sense because those two guys are great receivers, and having them back in that offense changes the game without a doubt. And for the Vikings, another back-to-back losses after starting the season 5-0. They had a play at the very end, which was supposed to be called a face mask, wasn't. Terrible call by the referees. But overall, Sam Darnold played another great game. Justin Jefferson played well. The guys just on the they just weren't able to clutch up when it mattered most. And for the Rams, their offense looked like it's back firing all cylinders. Puka Nacua looked good, had over 100 yards. Cooper Kupp played well. Kyren Williams played well. And they were just able to distribute the ball to their playmakers and play decent enough defense to get a good win for them. Moving on to the Sunday slate of games, the Packers escaped another game by a game-winning field goal as the time expires as they beat the Jaguars 30-27. Jordan Love got hurt early in this game, so Malik Willis had to take over, and he did what he needed to do. Josh Jacobs had a great game. For the Jaguars, two big blows for them. Christian Kirk out for the year, and Brian Thomas just got ruled out a couple hours ago for 2 to 4 weeks, which is just a rough blow for the Jaguars as a whole, for a team that's already been struggling. To lose their top two guys, one for the season, another one for 2 to 4 weeks, it's going to be a lot rough for Trevor Lawrence to get anything going, especially since it's been a problem already. So, and for the Packers, they're 6-2. They're looking great overall, and if Jordan Love can decrease the turnovers and just play a great style of football with Josh Jacobs there, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Dontavion Wicks, guys like that, and Jaden Reed, of course, they'll be able to play great, and they got a great matchup this week against the Lions, so that should definitely be interesting to see. Moving on to the next game, Cardinals and Dolphins, the return of Tua. Tua played a solid game. Had over 100 yards, a passing touchdown, but overall the Cardinals were just able to sustain great offense. Kyler had a great game, Marvin Harrison had a great game, and Trey McBride had a great game with over 124 yards. Harrison 111 and a touchdown. And overall the Cardinals just did what they needed to do and won on a game-winning field goal by their kicker Chad Ryland. And the Cardinals, like I said, basically did what they needed to do. For the Dolphins, Tua played solid for what he was put into. And, I mean, he had a nice slide in the third quarter. I think it was in the third or fourth quarter, and the stadium erupted. It's good to see him back fully healthy. And for the Dolphins, I don't know where they move from here because now they're 2-5. Their quarterback's back to being healthy, so it should be interesting to see what happens with them. Moving on to the next game, the Patriots and the Jets. The Patriots, I don't even know if you want to call it an upset at this point because the Jets have just been terrible. They trade for Devontae Adams, and they have 2 straight losses. Like, their offense just does not look good. Aaron Rodgers is way past his prime. He should have never came back on that torn Achilles. And for the defense, the Patriots were just able to destroy them in the second half, especially with Jacoby Brissett in there. That's pretty embarrassing because Drake May got hurt with a concussion early and wasn't able to return. And for the Patriots, just a great win for them and the Jets. Just so many questions to be asked. So, moving on to the next game, the upset of the week. The Cleveland Browns shock the Baltimore Ravens, led by Jameis Winston, who threw for over 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, and just played a brand new style of Cleveland offense that we haven't seen all year from them. And then for the Ravens, a couple crucial plays changed this game. The Kyle Hamilton drop interception definitely changed it, and then Rashad Bateman catch earlier in the game like that he should have caught, and he didn't. And overall, the Ravens were just stunned in this game. They thought this was a cakewalk, but it really wasn't. It was one of those. It was a trap game for them. They just went into Cleveland. The Ravens also had these type of losses a lot, so I'm not really surprised, but also very much surprised because the Ravens have been playing good football, and to lose a game like this to Jameis Winston is not the best thing. So, but overall, just a great win for Cleveland, a great upset in the NFL, and Baltimore. We'll see. It should be interesting to see how they move from here. Moving on to the next game, the Eagles probably play the best game of their season against the Cincinnati Bengals as they win by the score of 37-17. Jalen Hurts was phenomenal, had 3 rushing touchdowns, a beautiful passing touchdown to Devontae Smith. And overall, that second half defense was great. Great coaching by Vic Fangio in the second half, able to get those players where they needed to go. And Cooper DeJean was a monster in the second half. Had some great plays, had stopped Jamar Chase on that fourth down play. And then Isaiah Rodgers, I mean, what coverage on Jamar Chase to bat it up in the air, and then for C.J. Gardner-Johnson to pick it off. Absolutely phenomenal. So overall, just a great win for the Eagles from the Bengals. They started off strong. They had a great 17-play drive to open up the game. And really, other than that, they weren't able to sustain much. They had 2 touchdowns the entire game and a field goal and a missed field goal from Evan McPherson. But it wasn't even like the Eagles had 2 turnovers in the fourth quarter, which is a great sign for them. But it's not like the Bengals didn't have their opportunities. They very much did to take this game out of reach for the Eagles, but they kept the Eagles in it, and the Eagles just pounced on the opportunity and were able to win, and like I said, their best win of the year. So moving on to the next game, the Texans and the Colts. The Texans, we got a win over the Colts. The main story I want to talk about in this game is Anthony Richardson. His completion percentage was terrible. He's just such an inconsistent quarterback. He'll throw like a 60-yard pass, perfect on the dime, but he can't throw a 2-yard screen. He's probably one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks I've ever seen play the game of football, which is actually insane. And then just overall, I think like the Colts, I don't know what they want to do from here, because there's potential in Richardson, but he's just not showing it, and it's like hurting the team as a whole. Like games that they could win, he's holding them back from. So I don't know what they do from that, but. And for the Texans, just a great win. I mean, Stephon Diggs got hurt, so hopefully he's okay for them. And Joe Mixon did what he needed to do. C.J. Stroud played well. And overall, just a great win for Houston. And Colts, I don't know what they want to do from here. But moving on to the next game, the Lions and Titans. That oh my gosh, this was a blowout from the beginning. The Lions just pulled out everything against the Titans. Punt returns, trick plays, anything they really wanted to think of, they pulled it, like they did it. Jared Goff only had 85 passing yards, but 3 passing touchdowns. That is insane in my opinion. And overall, just, I don't know where they move. Like, I don't know. But the Lions, I just think they're definitely the best team in the NFC, and I really think they are the best team in the NFL. They just have been playing up to standards from the beginning. They only have 1 loss right now. They're one of the most dangerous teams in football right now. And with the way Ben Johnson is calling that offense, he's an absolute mastermind with what he wants to do with that offense. He has all control whatsoever. And basically, this is why the Lions are one of the best, if not the best teams in the NFL. And for the Titans, this is just a rebuilding year for them, plain and simple. Calvin Ridley had a good game, which is a good sign for them. And really, other than that, not much to talk about for the Titans in this game. So moving on to the next game, the Falcons end up sweeping Tampa Bay. They squeak out a win, 31-26. Kyle Pitts had a day, two receiving touchdowns. The second one, though, was a little questionable. Everyone thinks he didn't get in. Like, he did, like, a stupid celebration where he, like, held the ball down and the Buccaneers player knocked it out of his hand. Everyone thinks it's a touchback. I didn't see that much, so I'm not the greatest one when it came to opinion, but overall, the Falcons were able to get a good win. It was especially a tight end game in this one. Kade Otten had a good game. Kyle Pitts had a good game. I think Bijan Robinson played pretty well, so it's a good overall win for the Falcons as they moved to 5-3. And then moving on to the 4 o'clock slate of games, the Chargers and the Saints. The Chargers just completely dominated after like the first quarter. It was like weird. It was like 3-2 after the first, but then it was straight domination from the Chargers. Herbert had a great game. He was able to get it to his guy, Ladd McConkey. Definitely Ladd McConkey's best game of his early rookie season. So just great overall for them and for the Saints. Just a 6th straight loss for them. I don't know really where they move from here because they went from being like one of the best teams in the NFL after the first 2 weeks to now possibly tanking. Like, I don't know what they do from that. But moving on to the next game, the Bills just utterly destroyed the Seahawks. James Cook had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen finally threw his first pick of the year to former Eagle Josh Joe, which I find pretty funny. But really, not much to talk about. DK Metcalf did not play in this game, and it definitely made its difference. Geno Smith was barely able to get the ball out, and when he did, it was just not a complete pass where he threw, I think, a pick or 2. But overall, the Bills just ran down the Seahawks' throat, chewed most of the clock away, and was able to win this game in commanding fashion. Moving on to the Bears and the Commanders, and probably the play of the year. The Commanders were able to squeak out a win, 18-15, on a, like I say, game of the year play. Jaden Daniels throws it 650 plus yards downfield, and it gets deflected and caught by Noah Brown. And the main story of this is Tyreek Stevenson, number 29 on the Bears, was taunting the fans before the ball was being snapped. He was still doing when the ball was being snapped, and then decided to run over while the receivers were forming up. And he was the reason, and his hand was the one that tipped it up in the air for Noah Brown to catch it. Overall, this game was just pretty boring except for that play. It was just a field goal fest from the Commanders. They were up 12-0, and the Bears had an answer with a DeAndre Swift touchdown. The Bears were able to take the lead late in the fourth quarter with under 20 seconds left, but the Commanders were just able to get a miracle-type play because of the Bears' inefficiencies of trying to run a defense in the 2-minute hurry-up drill. There was just terrible formation, and if I'm a Bears fan or anything like that, or I'm the owner, I'm very much questioning the end of that game, like what their mentality was, especially their head coach Matt Eberflus, because he was interviewed about it after the game, and his response to the questions were just not great overall. And I just think, I don't know where they move from here, but should be interesting to see for the Commanders. They're 6-2. They're firing on all cylinders. And if Jaden Daniels can get back up to 100%, I would look out if I was anyone in the NFC. So moving on to the Chiefs and the Raiders, as the Chiefs remain unbeaten. They are still 7-0 as they beat the Raiders 27-20. This game was not entertaining from what I heard or what I saw. I mean, you had a Xavier Worthy touchdown. Travis Kelce was able to get into the end zone for the first time this season. And overall, it was a close game. The Chiefs squeaked out another win, but not much to really talk about in this game. The next game, the Broncos and the Panthers. The Broncos were able to win 28-14. The Panthers were playing well early, but then the Broncos dominated. Probably Nick's best game of his career so far in his young rookie season. Was able to get a nice touchdown pass to Adam Trautman. And overall for the Broncos, they moved to 5-3, and they're right there in the AFC West. They're second place, and if they could sneak into the playoffs, that'd be a great sign for their future. And overall, the team as a whole, getting that mentality, getting that experience will definitely help a young team like them. So, and then moving on to Sunday Night Football, the Niners, it does look like they barely squeaked out a win, but until the fourth quarter when the Cowboys had 2 late touchdowns to CeeDee Lamb, it was just straight dominance from the Niners. And the Niners just show again, they just assert their dominance pretty much over the Dallas Cowboys once again. So overall, the Niners just get a nice bounce back win for them. And for the Cowboys, Prescott had 2 interceptions in this game, could have had more. But really, the Niners were able to get a win, and the Cowboys should be interesting to see how they move from here, with their next 3 games being the Falcons, Eagles, and Commanders. Texans, yeah. So moving on to Monday Night Football that happens tonight between the Giants and the Steelers. The Giants, I don't know how they're going into this game. It's going to be a tough environment for them to play in. Daniel Jones just does not look great. Malik Nabers is a superstar, or a star in the making, I think. And I don't know what they're going to do. Russell Wilson looked great last week. I think he could be able to continue it this week. I know the Giants' defense has been very underrated this season. But overall, I just think the Steelers will be able to dominate early. Once they get that running attack going, I think it's going to be hard for the Giants to stop. And I think they'll force a couple turnovers on Daniel Jones, and that will win them the game. That's going to wrap up the NFL. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the MLB. We got Game 3 of the World Series tonight. The Dodgers are currently up 2-0. It's about to start in about 3 hours or so. The Dodgers are looking up to go 3-0 in this series. It's just been straight dominance from them ever since they got that Game 1 miracle win from Freddie Freeman with the grand slam, and then they had a nice convincing 4-2 win to go up 2-0 in the series. I just think the Dodgers, they can easily close it out, and I think they will close it out in New York in 5 games. So we'll have to see if New York has a response, see if Juan Soto and especially Aaron Judge can wake up. So should be interesting to see. But really, other than that, that's going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Other than that, look for an episode later this week. Enjoy tonight's games between the NFL, MLB, NHL, and NBA. Other than that, see you guys.